Hi, this is Hrvoje Madiraca from Rapid Strike, and you're listening to Channa 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 podcast. Cheers, man. Or woman. Just enjoy your day, your life, and everything, and follow Channa. He's cool. He's the man.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. We have a very special guest today joining all the way from Croatia. We got Hrvoje Madiraca joining the podcast. Hrvoje. Hi Hrvoje.
Yeah. Hello, Channa 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 podcast. Thanks for inviting us. And yeah, this is me. This is Hrvoje, the guitar player slash composer, songwriter, whatever in Rapid Strike. It's nice to be here, and thanks again.
Right. So how is the situation? Because Croatia, I don't hear a lot about the country. So how is the situation right now? Is the life back to normal or with the pandemic and everything?
Well, if we can talk about the restrictions being lifted, and yeah, it's getting back to normal, which is a big thing, of course, not just for us musicians, but unfortunately the numbers are still pretty high, and we still have a lot of cases, and that's unfortunately. But I do think it's getting better. So yeah, we can move around freely. We can go basically everywhere, attend gigs, I don't know, sport events, whatever. And the numbers, albeit high, are not as high as they were during the height of the pandemic. So
Right.
yeah, I can see that it is getting better. We are all getting there. So
Right.
yeah.
So when did you last perform live?
Oh my God. December 2013 in London, UK. But that was the COVID wasn't back a thing back then. It was just like we had a temporary hiatus from the band and everything. So we came back last year full force. So yeah, COVID didn't screw that up. I cannot blame it on COVID, you know.
Right. So the Croatian capital is, I think it's called Zagreb, right? Zagreb.
Yeah, Zagreb. You got it right. Yeah, nailed it.
So where are you? Are you in Zagreb or a different place in Croatia?
We're in Split. That's in the region of Dalmatia. It's a coastal Adriatic region, whilst Zagreb, our capital, is more like a Central European town. So the vibe is totally different, you know. So it's more like a Mediterranean thing now. Here, not now, like since forever. Actually, the Roman Emperor Diocletian, he founded the city. So it's quite nice to live in a city where, you know, some dude from some empire, like he vacated the throne and said, yeah, I want to live there. I want to, and yeah, that's actually, I'm not making this up. So Roman Emperor Diocletian founded the city of Split, and it's a Mediterranean town as opposed to Zagreb, which is like 400 kilometers northwards, and it's got more of that Central European, you know, Austrian Vienna type of thing. And so we're a small country, but there is a lot of diversity, like a little bit of regions here and there, and you can see everything. You should go out and check Croatia one day, man. It's really nice, and it has a beautiful sea, beautiful nature. It has a bit of everything for everybody.
Right. I actually heard that the Dalmatians actually come from Croatia. The dogs, the Dalmatians. It's actually started in Croatia, right?
Yeah, we branded that one. Yeah, not we, but somebody did.
Right.
That's cool. Oh man,
right.
That movie going on. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Rapid Strike. Tell me the current lineup. Who is in the band?
Okay. Yeah. So the lineup, we gotta start with something, right? Well, it's Bexie James. She's from the UK. She's our vocalist. And then there's me on the guitars, Ante Pupacic Pupi. he's another guitarist. So we have a 2-guitar thing going on. We have Dan Clea on bass guitars and Daniel Stoyan on drums. So it's a 5-piece, sometimes it's a 4-piece. We, you know, when somebody cannot go, like when Pupi cannot perform because he has his studio obligations, he's a producer here in Croatia, then it's only me on guitar, but it's a 4-piece or a 5-piece. It just depends, but it works both ways, so it's cool.
Right.
At least I think so. Yeah.
Right. So we let's talk about the band a little bit later, but I want to ask you a little bit about your childhood and what's your first memory of music? Like, what's the one that you remember, the earliest one?
Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses. It was a single by them. Don't Cry. Yeah, I was like, since I was born in 1990, it was like, I don't know, 91, 92, but I remember it like so faintly. But apparently my mother recorded it on a cassette, me shouting along with Axl Rose when I was like 2 or maybe 3 years old. So yeah, I guess I was into music since before I was conscious. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was always drawn to music, definitely, but it definitely hit when I got into high school. And even before that, like, when I was 13, 14, that's when I got my first guitar and things started rolling from there. And here I am like 17 years later and still doing it. So.
Right. So what were the bands you were like starting to listen?
Oh, well, it was like Maiden, Metallica, even a bit of a grunge. I still like some Nirvana, Alice in Chains, etc., etc., but mostly classic metal and classic rock. And I think that maybe that's the reason why we sound the way we sound. It's for me, 70s and 80s music is, at least for rock, it's like the perfection. Yeah, there are always innovations and everything, but if we're gonna ask ourselves when was rock the biggest and metal, the answer as well as I do. Everybody does. So is it because all the best songs were written back then, or I don't know, the legendary performers were around, or the industry was in a better shape then? And that's a major thing, because there are so many talented people writing and performing these days. It's unreal. But there was a lot of backing up. There was a lot of more infrastructure, going on back then. So, and yeah, people dug it, apparently. Everybody loved rock then. Nowadays, a lot of us do, but numbers are numbers. Hey,
Right.
But it's still cool.
Right. So if you were born in 1990, that means that the time you're mentioning, like when you were 13, 14 years old,
Yeah,
that was the new metal era, right? That's when all the new metal bands. You never got into new metal?
no. No, no. I know it may be strange, but I was never like no. That just isn't for me. I can certainly appreciate the innovation. They brought something new to the table, and like, it's all great stuff, but it's just not for me. You cannot label them new metal, but like, probably the newest band that has introduced something that I really do dig is Evanescence. So, and that's kind of like almost going on for 20 years, right? So
Right.
I'm definitely old school, man. Yes.
Yeah. I remember especially the Daredevil movie soundtrack, right? That had all the hits of Evanescence, right? So that movie really sucked, but the
Yeah.
soundtrack was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, that whole Fallen album, it was like a game changer for me in a sense that Metallica's Black Album was a game changer. It just sort of, because what those albums, what they've done is they basically brought mainstream to metal and not vice versa. It was not selling out, you know. It was just, no, look at what we do best, and I don't know, check this out, and you see how it went. So both albums were massive. So actually, those two are one of my like top 10 in my top 10 favorite records. Black Album is maybe my favorite album of all time. So yeah, and it's got a like a 30-year anniversary thing going on. So happy birthday, Black Album, by the way.
Yeah, they released like another special box set and stuff, so everybody was like trying to buy that, all my friends. but for me, because I do collect albums, but I tend not to buy those box sets because I remember buying the box sets, but I never listened to the box set because I really love the standard album that like, especially if I can find that original album that was released whenever, right? Because it feels more, I don't know, it feels better. It's a different feeling to have that the original album. That I have a lot of all those first editions of like Megadeth and Slayer, Testament, and all that. I love those standard ones. I don't like the fancy box sets because those, I feel that those are just for the like the rich fans, like, you know, they want to show off, like, you know.
Well, you know, everybody's got his or her own thing. So if if somebody wants to buy, if someone is like a super fan and wants to spend, I don't know, $500 or, you know, it's cool, man. You do it, but I'm on the same page and as you. And what have they remastered the Black Album, or?
I probably, and then that I think has also like covers from other bands. I think that's what I heard. I haven't really looked at it that much, but I saw that there was like a Ghost is doing a Metallica song and all this.
Oh yeah, it's part of a promotion. I guess, yeah, but the album stays. I just don't know it stayed how it is. I just don't know how they remaster it or something. But we're going off topic, so
right.
It's kudos.
Talking about Metallica for me is very special, especially the Garage Inc. album, because that album basically introduced me to all the other genres, because it had like Misfits and all these other bands, and we Thin Lizzy and Bob Seger. Yeah, because it actually introduced me to punk rock. Metallica actually introduced me to punk rock because of that album. Because so it was a very, I mean, that compilation was a very special album for me. Remember, because I listened to Metallica version and then I go and listen to Misfits, and then I like Misfits, so I started listening to Misfits.
You see the influence of Metallica. You just cannot get around it, you know. So they're giving back something, you know. Same as with Diamond Head, Am I Evil cover. So what influenced them was like, you know, they influenced you. They introduced people to a whole lot of like a different generations of band that came a bit before them, or their contemporaries that were not metal but kind of rock, punk rock, as you mentioned. So yeah, everybody has their own personal story with Metallica, and I'll give you one and it's gonna be the last one. Okay, so actually, probably my first metal record was, I don't know, Number of the Beast by Maiden, and it was spectacular. And then I bought Ride Lightning, and when I heard those riffs, you know, James Hetfield's riffs, I was like, oh my god. Like, it's just like jackhammer, just I don't know, showing its jackhammer on top of your head, and like, wow, this is heavy. But yeah, I still love Maiden, and Lizzy, who influenced Maiden, is one of my favorite bands as well. So yeah, everything like classic rock from 70s, 80s, metal, even a bit of pop. I do like even pop, so not nowadays, no. Not new metal, not new pop. It's just me. I'm that kind
Right.
of
So play you said you pick up the guitar like 13 years old something, right? So uh y- who is really influenced you to play guitar? Like who do you wanted to follow as a guitarist?
Well, my very first major influence was Mr. Adrian Smith and KK Downing, Dave Murray, Glenn Tipton, the legendary British metal guitar duos.
Right.
And then I got into James Hetfield, obviously, but and thrash metal. But I've noticed that as a guitar player, I may get a bit philosophical now, but okay. So my thing is the riffs in thrash metal are powerful and I love them. And so this is my mindset, but the solos are mostly, well, let's call them strange a bit, they fit the music better. And so I tried to implement like those strong, powerful riffs, but with kind of rock solos, classic rock solos, the pentatonic scales, the majors, the minors, the harmonic minors, but melodic ones, So then I started to notice more and more legendary acts like Whitesnake, and guitar players such as John Sykes, and Richie Blackmore in Deep Purple before him, and I mean, he's the progenitor of everything, basically, almost. And those guys like Schenkers, your Michael Schenkers, your John Sykes, your Gary Moores, your legendary guitar players from Tim Lizzy, like Scott Gorham, Brian Robertson, etc., etc. And so those guys, they were like Eddie Van Halen, Ingrid Malmsteen. I could go on and on, but you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
they were like, oh my God, these guys are really, they really know their crafts so well, and they're amazing but melodic at the same time, and they serve the song whenever they play a solo. And as a lead guitar player, I tended to gravitate towards that more and more and more as I matured as a player. So yeah, my riffs are still, like between desert hard rock, heavy metal, thrash, but as for licks, solos, it's mostly rock. So I don't know if you heard that in our stuff, but it's like when the solo kicks in, it's not your metal solo, not so many arpeggios. It's more like,
Right.
that just vibrato bending energy and that kind of stuff.
Right. So before starting Rapid Strike, what were the band? Did you had other bands, other projects before that?
None. I'm a lifer in Rapid Strike. none whatsoever.
Right. So tell me about how did you start Rapid Strike?
Well, it's your typical story about a high school kids, just starting to love music at the same time and going into the same elementary school, 8th grade. And then a bunch of us started playing in rehearsal spaces and everything. We were all into metal and hard rock, and it started from there. We started composing and playing shows locally, and it kind of evolves beyond that. And look, some of us are built to do a marathon, some of us are meant to do a sprint, and I'm one of those who go for a marathon, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Some people just lose interest, and some people just love that so much, music and everything related to it, that I'm one of those guys.
Right. So you actually released an album called Go Take Me to Hell, right? That was your first album?
Yeah, that was our first album, and it was extremely thrash metal album.
Right.
All guns blazing. Yeah, I love it.
And with that album and so you had a different lineup for that album, right?
Yeah,
Compared to
totally.
now. So
Yeah.
you guys actually did a Japan tour?
Yeah, Japanese tour. Yeah, in 2013. Yeah.
Tell me about that Japan experience, because I know that a lot of people love playing in Japan, right?
Yeah, because they're like crazy in a good way. I mean, the Japanese fans, it's something you cannot even fathom it, let alone comprehend. When you go to Japan, you're like a rock star. I mean, it's true. You can ask anybody who's been there. You go to a sound check like for 4 or 5 hours before the actual show, and you see like 50 or 100 or 200 like kids waiting at the front of the venue for you to show up and hey before a sound check, and they all had these little notebooks, you know, with the pens, you know, and they hand drawn your logo and they asked you to sign, and you're like, oh, we're not the Beatles, guys, okay. But yeah, it's like, yeah, they love it so much. I mean, they buy all the merch, they know all the songs, and they sing along with you, and they're so great. And maybe it has something to do with that they don't often get the chance to see acts from another, not countries, but continents even. So maybe they're like, maybe it's something more than it is for us, you know. We have festivals, we can see bands frequently, but maybe it isn't that kind of a situation for them. So I don't know, but I would definitely recommend everyone to go to Japan, because it's really awesome. The fans are awesome and they're so passionate about it, and yeah, you really feel appreciated as an artist there.
Yeah, and I think they're very loyal as well, right? As fans.
Yeah, they stay with you no matter what, you know, and they remember all the gigs and they send you the photos via email, and so, and it's just awesome, man. Yeah, I think we're gonna go there again. Yeah, not this year, but we'll see in a couple of years. Why
Yeah,
not?
I think you should come to the Philippines also, because it's just like 3 hours away from Japan. So
Really? Well, it's it's a bit of, you know, we had to find the promoters, but why not? We would love to go to Philippines.
right.
Well, we will definitely do that.
So doing, you know, you playing in UK and you play in Japan, and with that, all that, what happened? Why the band went into like a hiatus after that? What happened?
Well, that's a good question. Maybe it's because when you're young, well, I was 23 at the time, so I was not a kid, but maybe I got more than I wanted to, but you know, you can binge the show, I don't know, but you can get fed up with something, not fed up, but you need to take a break and reevaluate what you do, and in order to come back, I don't know, more mature with a different approach to your songwriting. Not that I don't like what we did back then, I do adore what we did back then, but I think a kind of a break was necessary for us to see what we really want to do next, and what we need to tweak, let's say it like that. And I'm really grateful that it kind of worked out. I mean, I didn't have a master plan, that would be an overstatement, but I just knew that I want to do something different this time around and in the future. So yeah, am I making any sense?
Yes,
Because it was you know, I was like 14, I picked my guitar, I've learned to play guitar, and then it was bam, 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 bam for like 7 or 8 years straight. And then you get to a certain point and then you're like, man, what do I do now? And then it can take a month, but for me it took quite a couple of years. But we're back into the game, and it feels good, man. It really does. It's awesome.
Right. So with the new lineup, you have a new vocalist, Bexie James, right? So
Yeah.
she's from the UK. Uh, I actually searched her name in YouTube, and then I found this band called Eventual Fate, and they're one of their songs called Back to Hell, and it's it's like, you know, completely different from what you guys do with Rapid Strike, right?
Yeah. It is. You know, everybody has their own thing. So I don't know that much about Eventual Fate. I do know that Bexie was a vocalist there, but yeah, they do sound and look radically different. But as for us, Bexie fits just perfectly with Rapid Strike because she's totally into, you know, 80s hard rock, heavy metal, you know, even 70s way back, and crushing riffs, but beautiful vocals. And she's like she has that type of a voice that maybe isn't a typical, you know, belting mellow voice, but it has so much passion, soul, beauty, blues in it. That's what I wanted to do, you know, with Rapid Strike from the very beginning, probably, but I couldn't understand what I wanted to do when I was that young, hence the temporary hiatus and everything. So, you know, it all fits when you hear the narrative. At least I hope it does.
So now that you have a new lineup, you actually have a new album, your self-titled album, Rapid Strike, which has, I really love several songs of that album. I started listening to that, and this one called Just a Lie, you guys did a nice video as well, like, you know, with the fire breathers and all that. Tell me about that song.
Well, it's a proper rock and roll song about you know, lyrics are about going to strip joints and waking up without any money. And that's a true story.
That happens to everyone.
So do I need to explain the lyrical side of things anymore? I do not. Okay.
Right.
And musically, yeah, it's sort of you have your intro, your acoustic intro, and then you have your build up, and you have your riffs, you know, and then you go kick into the riffs, and the verses are pretty straightforward, but I think powerful and catchy. And then you go to the chorus, everything breaks down a bit, slows down a bit, and then it builds up again, you know, with Bexie's vocals, with guitar harmonies and everything. And it's I think I'm really proud of that song because it showcases a lot of the stuff that we're capable of. So as a songwriter, it means a lot to me because, you know, it kind of, I think it presents us properly as a band. You know, you want to know what Rapid Strike is all about, not all about, but, you know, just a lie. Go and take a look, you know. So, and I think it's a really good song. Really proud of that one. Definitely.
Right. So Rapid Strike, I mean, you have two guitarists. You have the other guitarist who is Puppy, right? Ante Puppy.
Puppy, yeah.
Yeah. So
he's a guitar legend here in Croatia. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I saw his one of these Guitar Fest performances. He has one video in YouTube, Omis Guitar Fest, I think.
Yeah.
He's like because when I look at him, it reminds me of like Yngwie Malmsteen, like, you know, that sort of a persona, right? He's such a legend.
Well, you know what? Actually, he's not only my mentor, he's like my he is definitely my favorite guitar player of all times. There, I said it. Not because he's in a band with me, but sincerely, Ante Pugacic Pupi, man, he can play. Man, he can play. And it's an honor to share that duty with him, you know.
So how's the dynamic of playing with him? Like, how do you guys like decide who plays the solo? And
Oh, we split up 50-50. Yeah, solos are like 50-50. And rhythm guitars, those metal ones, yeah, it's mostly me, because he's more into, you know, rock stuff, and he's not into palm muting. And so rhythm guitars, yeah, that's me. And for the solos, it's 50-50 between me and Pupi.
right. I think from that album, I think the hit from that album is the song called "Losing You,"
Oh
which I
man,
really love.
you said it. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the record. I mean, you know, you mustn't choose from your babies. Do you like
Right.
your son or your daughter the more, or who do you like more? Who do you love more? I mean, but yeah, Losing You. Yeah, that's a song. Do you mind if I have a cigarette?
No problem.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and it is a personal song. We all had our heartaches, and we all had our, I mean, love lives turn to shit, and you know, some relationships just don't work, and that just stays with you for a bit. And as for that one, well, the relationship just broke down, and I wrote a song and about that. And yeah, I really dig that song too. Thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's
Yeah, because that song, I think a lot of people can sort of relate
to it.
Yeah, especially like, you know, what happened with last 2020 with this pandemic, and you know, people losing, you know, friends and family. And it's I mean, personally for me also, it was like a very hard year to pass. It's good that we were able to pass that year without not much of like damage personally, but it was a tough year. And it's because we started seeing so many people passing away, and it's becoming sort of, in Facebook you will see like somebody pass away. So I think it kind of, that's probably why that when I listened to that, I felt something from that song. um, yeah, so
Yeah, man. Oh, I can agree with everything that you said. And if I served as a conduct, as a writer, but as a conduct for someone to grieve a little easier because they've lost someone they love, then my mission in life can be accomplished. You know what I mean? Because it is such a relatable song. We all know that feeling one way or another. Maybe it's a personal relationship, a love type of thing, a romantic type of thing, or maybe it's your pet who passed away, or I don't know, your family. But we all lose someone, and in a certain kind of way. And yeah, I think we all felt that, and we can all relate to that. So thanks, man. This really meant a lot, what you said. And
yeah, so rapid strike, I actually want to ask you this. So did you did it take so much, like, you know, effort to come up with the band name Rapid Strike? Because it's very 80s, or 80s. Like when I hear Rapid Strike, it's like a Van Damme movie, or it's like a Stallone movie, right?
Yeah, well, don't even ask me, like, did we thought much about it? No, just I cannot remember who, but somebody in the rehearsal room, we were like, well, what's the name of the band, you know? So, and somebody said I don't know if it's me or anybody else. I cannot remember. It's like 12 years, 13 years from now. And so, but yeah, somebody said rapid strike, and we're like, bam, yeah, that's cool. That's rapid strike. Yeah, we'll go for it, man.
Right.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
so
it just fits.
right. So you guys are now this new album. You actually under the label, right? Wormhole Death label.
Yeah,
So so what is upcoming? What are you planning to do on the rest of the 2021 and or in next year? So what are the plans?
Well, we don't have that many plans for 2021 because, in the music, you always have to look like 6 months into the future. That's when, you have to book your gigs prior. You have to make your plans beforehand. Nothing is getting done if you're making calls at the last minute, right? So it's gonna be 2022 for us. We're gonna have a few more singles out. One will not be from this current self-titled record, but a brand new song. So a few music videos, and we'll do some festivals, hopefully, or some gigs. But yeah, we'll be very, very active, and we are already writing our third record. So it's shaping up to be a really nice record. I mean, I think that people will dig it. So yeah, it's gonna be a very busy year next year for us, definitely. So
Right. So what's your message to the viewers of this video?
well, man, the host is awesome. The podcast is awesome. Philippines are awesome. Follow Channa and follow Rapid Strike as well whilst you're at it. So yeah,
Right.
that's about it.
Anybody you want to shout out to?
Of course. Well, my bandmates. Hi, Bexie. Hi, Pupi. The label Wormhole Death, Carlo Bellotti, Natasha Privac. And I don't know, fans, of course, without whom there wouldn't be any point in doing any of this. No fans equals no music. So that's the biggest shout out that I can possibly think of.
Right. So Hrvoje, thank you for joining this podcast. I really enjoyed this discussion.
Me too,
Because
man.
because I really love the music. I have the same sort of music that you like, and Rapid Strike for me reminds me of one of those great bands. What I used to listen in the 80s, 90s, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, right? So I was born like late 70s, so I'm quite older than you, but I think we kind of love the same sort of
Yeah,
music, and I
definitely.
really enjoy. So I mean, I wish you all the best with all your plans, and I hope to see your new songs soon. So stay safe, and hopefully you can come to Japan and Philippines in the future.
You too, man. I love this discussion, and you were totally spot on about our similar taste in music. And yeah, once again, thank you, and thanks all the listeners, all the people in the Philippines, and all the fans. And I wish you, each and every one of you, all the very best, and nothing else. Just all the very best. And bang on, rock, metal. That's cool, man.
So okay, thanks again, and have a great day ahead.
Thanks again, Channa.
Thanks.
Cheers, man.